We will get started. We know that you are all busy folks. We want to officially welcome you to Mount Wachusett. If you are a new student, I see that we have quite a few returning students joining us this morning. So welcome back to our returning students. My name is Jason Zaleski. I'm the Interim Vice President of Student Affairs and Dean of Students. And on behalf of all of my colleagues here at Mount Wachusett, we are so excited for you to join us today, and we are so excited for the start of the academic year next week. So welcome again. We are going to spend about an hour to 90 minutes together this morning. We have a number of special guests who are going to introduce themselves to you and talk a little bit about being here at Mount Wachusett. We also have some sessions and programs throughout the week designed to help you make a transition, a smooth transition to Mount Wachusett. At the end of our presentation this morning, I will go over the schedule of events for the week, and so that students are aware of all of the workshops and programs that are happening. I also want to say good morning and welcome to the faculty and staff who have joined us this morning. We have a number of folks who work directly with students who are here and will be able to answer any questions that you have. As I said, to get started, for those of you who are on right at 10, we have over 400 students registered for this morning's session. Right now we have about 240 or so. So with any group this size, it's important that we keep in mind a couple of things. One, please keep yourself on mute for the duration of the orientation. It prevents any background noise from happening and any interruptions to our speakers. Our speakers will also stay on mute unless they are the one talking. So we want to make sure that everything we say can be heard by you. We also know that you're going to have questions. And one of the things that we want, one of the reasons why we're doing the virtual orientation today is so that you feel comfortable and confident starting the academic year in a positive note. We also recognize that this has been an incredibly challenging 17 plus months for all of you. It's been challenging for us as well. So we want to make sure that you feel ready and prepared for the start of the fall semester. So as you have questions, we're going to ask that you put those in the chat box. We have a number of folks who are monitoring that chat box. If the question is something that's really specific to you, you may get an answer right away from one of our staff who are monitoring the chat, or we're going to queue that up so that we can talk about those questions at the end of our presentation. So if you chat a question and you don't hear that answer, don't worry, we're going to queue those up for you, and then we'll go through a specific question and answer period. If you want to hang on to your question until we get to the question and answer period at the end of this morning's session, please feel free to do that. We will ask for questions specifically from students. And remember, no question is a bad question. If you have it in your mind, I'll bet you another 50 students at least have the same question. So we're hoping that our introductions will answer some of the questions you have, but please, please do not leave here this morning without asking a question that's important to you. We'll also chat to you some important email addresses as we go through this morning. Those email addresses are also opportunities for you to reach out and ask questions. Some of you may not feel comfortable asking your question in a group setting. That's totally okay. We absolutely understand that. You can send us a personal email and we will absolutely get back to you with an answer to that question.
Sorry, I just got here. What were you talking about?
That's okay, Julia. You can just stay on mute and you'll jump in and you'll be able to follow us, okay? I also want to mention that we are recording the session, which is another reason why we're keeping folks on mute and having you chat any questions that you have. There are a number of students who cannot be here because they're working. It's a first day of school for a lot of our K through 12 student parents are managing the bus and work and all of their other responsibilities. So we will send a recording. So I've seen in the chat a couple of students saying they need to leave a little early or they can't stay for the whole thing. That's totally okay. We will have a full recording of this morning's presentation and get that out to all students. So even if you're here, you'll still get a copy of the recording, maybe to watch it or watch a section or go back to a section that you want to review. So like the screen says, if you see the screen in front of you, if you're able to do that, there are a number of folks who are going to speak to you briefly. Then we're going to move into a question and answer period. And then Kathy Matson, if Kathy can wave so you can see her on your screen, she's the Assistant Director of Student Life. She's going to introduce a virtual tour option for students at the conclusion of the event. And again, that is optional for students who want to stick on the session for a little bit longer and do a virtual tour with a small group of students in a team. So with that, I think we can put up, we also want this session to be interactive. I know it's hard to do that with a lot of folks, but we do have a couple of questions that we want to pose to our returning and new students. So I'm going to have Kathy put up our first question, and it's going to require us to jump into the Menti program. So you'll see on the screen that you can either open a new browser and go to www.menti.com. And when you get to that website, you're going to enter the code 11222344. Or if you're using a smartphone or have one handy, you can just scan the QR code that's on the screen and it will bring you right to the Menti for this morning's presentation. And yes, if you could do that for us right now, we have a question for you. And this is an excellent way for us to put our finger on the pulse of all 243 of you at the same time. So go ahead, Kathy, let's bring up our first question. The first question is, how are you feeling about starting classes?
Actually, no, it
I'm
was,
sorry.
I went one too
Okay.
far.
All right. So this is asking you, we're asking you a little bit about yourself. Have you attended another college? Are you a previous MWCC student that's been away for a while? You're a returning MWCC student, or you are a first-time college student, never attended college before. So I'm going to give folks a minute just to log on to menti.com using the code that's above. And as you watch the screen, you can see in real time our students answering this question. And what I see is that we have a number of brand new students here. And welcome to all of our new students. And we have some returners and those who are faculty and staff, we see you. Thanks for coming. All right, and Kathy just put in the chat box to remind folks to send your chat to everyone, just so we make sure that we're seeing it and the folks that are on the orientation this morning are able to manage those questions to make sure we catch everything.
Sorry, the code is not working for me, the Menti code.
Okay. Are you using 11222344? And Jacob brings up a good point. We're using lots of technology in today's world. Some of you are very comfortable with technology. For some of you, this could be your first large Zoom meeting. For those of us here at Mount Wachusett, it is not our first Zoom meeting. We've been using Zoom a lot over the last 17 months. And it's one of the reasons why we're doing virtual orientation on Zoom, because some of you will be doing classes on Zoom or another virtual platform. So this morning is about getting comfortable with that platform as well. And if the code isn't working, that's absolutely okay. We're going to try another Menti in a little bit. But you can see that most of the students on the call this morning are brand new, first time in college. We're so glad that you chose Mount Wachusett. And again, we'll be flexible. If it's not working, that's okay. You can even put in the chat box if you're a new student or a returning student, and we'll capture that information from you in maybe a less fancy way than on menti.com. So with that, I'm going to ask Kathy to pull this screen down, and I'm going to introduce our first speaker, and that is the president of Mount Wachusett, Dr. Jim Vanderhoeven. President Vanderhoeven.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jason, and thank you to all of you for joining our new student or orientation here. The summer is winding down, which is pretty hard to believe. Right outside my window of my office, there's one tree and one tree only that starts changing colors in the middle of July. I have no idea why, because it's in a row of about 6 trees that are all the same, but one of them every single summer starts to change color. So I always know that fall is on its way. And today is my second favorite day of my working life of each year. It's my second favorite because my first favorite is obviously commencement. When you get to celebrate the accomplishment that you've come here in order to achieve. It's my second favorite day because I know that each and every one of you has for yourself a series of goals, objectives, and you have chosen to pursue your education in order to reach those goals. And it's our job here at the Mount to make sure that you have the tools and the resources and the support that you need in order to be successful. Some of you may want to become a nurse. Some of you may be entering the field of forestry. Some of you are starting out in the auto tech program. Some of you are beginning programs in liberal arts, and some of you are expecting to transfer on to complete a bachelor's degree at some point, sometime in the future. All of those goals, all of those objectives receive my appreciation because you have set yourself up to succeed by coming to the Mount. You've set yourself up to save money over other options that are out there. And you've set yourself up to come into a welcoming community, a welcoming educational environment where we value each other, where we support one another, and we help each other be as successful as you possibly can. Now, what's more important than anything that I'm going to tell you today is what comes after me. And throughout this morning, you're going to have an opportunity to meet some folks from across the college community. And those are the individuals who you are going to be able to go to for support in order to be successful. It's not just your faculty members. There are many faculty who may be joining the call today. We have academic advisors. We have folks in our library who are ready to help you. We have folks in our advising center. We have folks in our tutoring center. We have folks at every step of the way whose entire purpose at the Mount is to help you be successful. Now, those of you who are on the call, who have achieved, say, an educational degree, like a bachelor's or a master's, and maybe I'm talking to some of the folks who work at the Mount right now, they will agree with me 100% on this one fact. You cannot graduate without getting support. You just can't do this alone. You can't. And that's not a weakness, that's a reality. So asking for help and seeking support wherever you need it is the biggest sign of strength that you could show for yourself and for others. Start to build relationships with one another. When you enter a class, whether it's remote, whether it's in person, whether it's a lab class, whether you think it's going to be the easiest class you've ever taken, or if you think it's going to be the most challenging course that you've ever taken. One of the indicators of your success is going to be building a relationship with others. Other classmates, seek out classmates who have the same interests as you. And then you'll find yourself gravitating to, say, a study group or a team of folks that are really invested in each other's success. Build a relationship with your faculty member. Let them know what you have going on in your world. Let them know what your challenges are, and they can help you be successful. They can help you overcome the challenges that you might be facing along the way. The last thing I'm going to say, and this came out of actually my own research and my own higher ed experience, and that is, you need to get the folks who are in your lives, whether they are family members, friends, significant others, partners, children, etc., parents, you need to get them on board as an active participant in your success. And let me give you an example. Let's say you start the semester next week, and your faculty member lets you know that on October 10th, I'm just throwing that number out, it might be a Sunday for all I know, but October 10th, you're going to have a big midterm. It's the first real chance you're going to have to demonstrate what you've learned in the course and how you're doing and progressing in the class. Well, if you wait until the night of October 9th to let your family know, or to let those that are close to you know that you have a big midterm tomorrow, you've waited too long. You need to get that information on the refrigerator. You need to put it on the home calendar, and you need to let folks know when your big educational events are taking place. Because if it's your responsibility at your home, let's just say on October 9th, to always make dinner, or it's your responsibility to take kids to an event, or it's your responsibility to do the grocery shopping, or any responsibility, you need to let folks know proactively that that's not going to work that night, because I've got a big midterm and I need your support. But if you don't do that, then they're going to be a little disgruntled, right? Some of you may know what I'm talking about. I certainly have to let my significant other at home know when I have really big days coming up at work, just so that there is a level of understanding and patience to help me get through that big day. So if you'll please promise me that you will do that. Get your family and friends on board with the goals that you've set for yourself, because it's fair to them too. If they have certain expectations of you and you all of a sudden throw them a curveball, that's not completely fair to them either. So I hope that you'll do that. Put those big dates on the calendar. Let your family and friends know what's going on, and let your faculty members know. I mean, even this morning, Jason, I think you just mentioned a little bit ago that a lot of our K-12 schools in the region started school this morning. I have two boys, one that's going into 8th grade and the other one that began 6th grade. They both started this morning. Everything was complete chaos in my household this morning. As much as we planned for everything to go completely smoothly, it didn't. So we have to have backup plans. We have to be ready to be able to address those things that come up in our lives. It is a huge honor for all of us that you have chosen to come to the Mount. We will be there for you to be successful and to achieve the goals that you have set. And I cannot wait. I'll tell you, it's the biggest experience of my life to be on the stage during commencement, to shake your hand as you come across that stage. And Jason knows, Jason is the one that hands me the diploma. He stands right behind me. And we have this little system down where I put my hand back, he puts the diploma in my hand and I turn it around. It's a highlight of my life. And I cannot wait to be there to give each and every one of you, not just a piece of paper and not just a folder, but a real symbol of your success and your aspirations for your career, for your families, and for your life. So put in the effort, ask us for help, and we will be there with you through thick and thin until that day I get to give you that diploma. So thank you very much. And thank you, Jason, and have a really enjoyable orientation. And please write down the names of the folks that you hear about today. They're going to come in handy throughout your experience at the Mount. I guarantee you that. And use them. Thank you.
Thank you, President Vanderhoeven, for those inspirational words of welcome. And I will say that the president is extremely student-centered, and he means everything that he says in terms of his commitment to your success. You will, I know some of you will be on campus, some of you may not be on campus quite yet, but hopefully in the future you will be in person with us. The president is always available for students, attends events, and later this fall we will have some Pizza with the President events for students. And even though that is virtual, it'll be an opportunity for students, at least in the fall virtual, to connect with the president, ask questions, learn about the future of Mount Wachusett, and we will be sending those invites to you as those dates approach. So please jump in and spend some time with the president. He enjoys that time, frequent visitor to our SGA meetings and to our student events. So you will absolutely see him both virtually and in person, depending on what your fall looks like. So thank you, President Vanderhoeven. I now want to introduce our interim vice president for academic affairs, Dr. John Eisler. John.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jason. That's a tough act to follow the president, and I'll try to be brief. I know you all are looking forward to having people talk at you for hours on end this week, so I'll be short. I'll be brief. So I just want to welcome you to the Mount Wachusett Community College. We're really excited to have you here. And as Jason said, we and the president, that we thank you for the choice in coming to our college, and I credit you all amid these very challenging times, not only COVID, but the economic struggles that a lot of people are facing right now makes college seem far down on the list of priorities, I'll say, or a far reach given the complexity of life right now. So the fact that you're here is a testament to your commitment to your future and to your education, and I commend you for that. This is an exciting time for you. Really the first step in a long journey that hopefully will be exciting for you and will get you to your goals, and you'll enjoy yourself along the way. As Jason mentioned, I'm the interim vice president of academic affairs, which means I'm the chief academic officer with the absolutely nerdiest job at the college, and very proud of that. I'm relatively new to the college. I started in January, and I've been working out of my basement up until we started repopulating the campus a few weeks ago. And I have to say, it's very energizing to be on campus. We're starting to see students trickle in, and faculty are arriving, and it really feels like we're reclaiming the college. And I have to say, if you have a chance to come on campus, even though it's a little anxiety provoking to be around people, it's really been a terrific opportunity, and we have a strict mask policy. We take a lot of safety measures, everything that we can possibly do, and so it's worth coming on campus if you can do it. It'll help you feel like you're really in college. Let me tell you. My realm, as I mentioned, is all the nerdy things at the college. That is, I'm responsible for all the academic programs, academic quality, the faculty, other things like the library, educational technology, academic support, and the registrar's office. So I just want to say my impressions in my first 8 months at the college is that I've never seen a college with such dedicated faculty and staff. The student-centeredness of this college is bar none. You have people who are dedicated to your academic success. You have people who are committed to serving you and helping you navigate through the college systems and become an effective student like I've never seen before. If I may just take a couple minutes, and since I have you as a captive audience, and this is one of the few times for me to get in front of you, I want to take advantage of that opportunity. And I just want to mention that all of us are coming to the college with very unique experiences, backgrounds, language, educational experiences, and time pressures and all of that. And it's that diversity that we celebrate at this college, and we value your individuality. And I want you to capture that and recognize that we all learn differently. We all interact with technology differently. We remember things differently. We have a tendency to learn certain things in certain ways better than others. I mean, that's all natural and part of our diversity. The reason I'm saying this is that I want you all to be good self-advocates for your learning and for your success. Speak up for your needs. Advocate for something that will help you become more successful. And you have a lot of avenues for activating those kind of support systems at the college. Communicate, ask questions, tell us what you need. It comes down to that. And it's sometimes hard to find the time to do that extra self-advocacy because you're busy with your studies. And I think it goes back to what the president said about making sure that you're planning ahead. And one thing that I think can help you become a good advocate is to really make good use of all the resources that you have on campus, as well as organize your life to enable you to work, to stay focused on your schoolwork and work at a pace that's reasonable, and you're not pulling all-nighters and you're not stressing out trying to get things done, but you make good use of that time. I just want to share a story that a high school teacher told me as I was heading off to college. He said, beware of the illusion of free time. And it's not that you have a lot of free time in your lives. Most of you have jobs, maybe even beyond a full-time job, and you have family responsibilities and a lot of pressures on you. So there's not really a lot of free time, but with college, particularly in contrast to high school, sometimes the deadlines are far off. You might not have a paper or a test for weeks, if not even months into the semester. And what you're often doing, I think, as a student is trying to figure, okay, what's the most immediate thing I have to do next? So one thing I try to do is encourage students to keep in mind that the time that it takes to read a text or write a paper and all of that, it takes a lot of time and it takes planning. So I encourage you to dedicate a little bit of your time to figuring out a system that works for you, that allows you to, let's say, get a syllabus from a class, map out the assignments on a calendar, and stay organized. And that way you can really make the best use of your time and hopefully find some balance in your life. College doesn't have to be a rite of passage where you have to suffer in order to grow on the other end. Try to work on finding that balance between all of your life pressures and school, and get it all to work seamlessly. And some of the advisors and academic coaches around the college may be available to help you with some of the tools that we use to help organize our lives. Particularly in the digital age, we have those tools, but we also have a lot of information coming at us, and it can be a little overwhelming. And then with regard to technology, I want to encourage you, even if you're not a real tech-oriented kind of person, or maybe you just are doing social media, but you haven't really studied, and you may have used Google Classroom in your high school. But take a little time there to make sure that you can work well in the Blackboard system, which is our online learning management system. We have a lot of tutorials on that, and I'd love for you to get off to a good start with that and feel comfortable navigating that environment. And that ends up becoming a good tool to keep track of your progress in a course. And then one last little piece of advice I'd like to mention is to encourage you to get involved, whether that be in college leadership or whether that be in a study group or an interest group on campus. But take advantage of this time as a college student to take in everything that the college has to offer for you, and also build your community. And personally, I felt like getting involved with study groups in college made everything not just more enjoyable, but I think all of us supported each other and were more successful. And so that's my little friendly advice to you as the chief nerd officer at the college. And I just want to encourage you to enjoy this experience, find that rich balance between reaching your goals in your professional development, but also take time to pause and enjoy your learning and enjoy the extracurricular activities on campus as well. And this college really is part of the community, and your relationship with the college doesn't end necessarily upon graduation. Stay involved, and realize that coming to college is really not just a means to an end, but it's really the start of sort of a new community of learning together. So that's my little bits of friendly advice. I'm looking forward to having you on campus. And I have to selfishly say, we're looking to all of you as the future leaders to really help make the world a better place. And if we can contribute to that, then we are honored to do so. So thank you all very much for your time, and have a wonderful experience during your orientation. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Dr. Eisler, and thank you, students, for all of your questions. I am fast and furiously typing and listening at the same time. So I'm going to answer a couple of really quick questions, and then I'm going to introduce our next speaker. You do not need a parking decal to come on campus. There are student parking in gigantic lots that are labeled B and C. But really, at this point in time, most of the parking spaces are available, given the fact that we are somewhat limited in terms of in-person classes. When we are back full-time in person, getting a parking spot in the middle of the day is a challenge, but it is free. So as long as you find a spot, you can park there, and it's between two lines, and it's not on the grass or in somewhere where you know is illegal when you park there, and we all have done that before, that you will be fine. Your student ID is optional. It is not required to enter the building or to be a Mount Wachusett student. We do encourage students to get a student ID, and Kathy's going to talk about that a little bit later. So I just wanted to answer that question and let you know that Kathy's going to review that in a few minutes. So now I want to introduce our next speaker. It is our Dean of Academic Affairs, Missy Sargent.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mount. I am not new at the college, although I am in the nerd office and a junior nerd to Dr. Eisler. I have been at Mount Wachusett for 29 years, but I'm most proud to say I'm also a Mount Wachusett graduate. I graduated in 1997. I was a non-traditional student. I worked during my time. So I understand that your entire life is not all school. However, you do have to look at it as a job. You are going to have to take the time it takes to put into for these classes, because you earn your grades. They don't give you your grades, correct? I am in charge of the academic support center, the testing center, as well as the retention center called Thrive. And I want to talk a little bit about the academic support center today, which is also referred to as tutoring a lot, but there's so much more there than just tutoring. And I also want to say that tutoring is not just if you're having a hard time in a subject. It is a great, great resource center. Tutoring right now is both remote and on campus, A lot of our students are finding they like the remote tutoring because it's more closely based one-on-one a lot of times with the students, as opposed to if you're in person with tutoring, there is still that limitation of having to be in the fall, will be 3 feet away. So you just have to make the decision as to what you feel most comfortable with and what is available. The best bet is to make an appointment for tutoring. That way you are assured, give them 24 hours to make sure there is a tutor available for you. If you go on to the Mount Wachusett website, and hopefully Kathy or someone can share our website address, we have a full schedule there. We do have some in-person walk-in between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday for both math and writing. But as I said, it's probably better to make your appointment so that you are assured that if you need help right away, you're going to have that help on time. You can also email the Academic Support Center at asc@mwcc.mass.edu or call them at 978-630-9333. And if you go to the website, you'll find all that information, not a problem. But what I want to talk about is that a lot of people that have issues with school, it's not really academic. A lot of times they're having issues with the time surrounding it, what it takes to be successful in these classes. So the one thing I want to put out to you is the first thing you do when you get in your class is read your syllabus from top to back, back to top, up, bottom, because that is your contract with the teacher. If you read the syllabus and you choose to stay in that class, you are thereby agreeing to everything on that syllabus. I have dropped classes in the past because I'll look at it and say, oh, I'm not really sure I'm going to be able to accommodate all of this part right here on the syllabus. Or I talk to the teacher. So just make sure that you understand what you are going to be required to do in this class. And remember, if you're taking online classes, online does not mean easier. In fact, a lot of times you have to spend a little bit more time on online classes, depending on how the instructor has it set up, and they're all different. You might have to read a lot more because the instructor isn't in front of you talking. Sometimes it's easier to sit and listen than to sit and read everything. So take those things into consideration as you're going through your syllabus. Also on our website, we have a lot of great resources, such as citation help, research basics, how to use the T1 calculator, which I would probably have to use because I don't think I've used a T1 calculator. Time management skills. There's a great template on there for homework master list where you can list all of your homework assignments that are due the priority. So you can kind of make a schedule as to what you're going to do and what's important and what needs to be done first. You have to prioritize your time. There's a great video on listening and note-taking. All of these things are some of the issues that students have with classes. Not that they don't understand the material, but they're not getting their work done because they're not prioritizing their time. And sometimes it's a matter of, I've never had to do this before. I don't know how. That's what these resources are there for you. But basically, no matter what happens, I urge you, just don't panic. You get to a part, you start to get a little bit nervous. Oh my God, there's this paper. I've never had to do a college paper. Don't panic and don't procrastinate. I will tell you, procrastination does not solve it. It makes it worse. Don't panic. Talk to your teacher, talk to an advisor. You can come see me in academic affairs. Talk to somebody to get the help that you need to feel comfortable with your situation. There are tons of people here waiting to help you through your academics, as well as if you have issues going on at home that are preventing you. We have counselors, we have lots of help here for you. And other than that, what I want to say is please be kind and empathetic to each other. And that includes your teachers. The faculty here are humans as well. I know sometimes we don't look at them as that way. We look at them kind of like machines. They may give you a time frame that, you know, if you send them an email at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, I'm pretty sure they may not be monitoring it at that time. So make sure you understand the time frame when you're looking at your syllabus and when assignments are due. If you wait until a time when they're not available, You can't expect them to turn around and answer you right away. And then if your information is late, I'm sorry, but that's on you. You have to make the time to get these done. So you have to plan ahead. Waiting to the last minute on all of these things is a sure sign that you're going to have a difficult time in these classes. But be empathetic to each other. Not everybody believes the same thing or follows the same politics or has the same religion, anything like that. But in our society right now, we've become very, very rough with each other. And at a time right now, we need kindness and we need empathy with each other. And that includes the staff and the faculty. So welcome again. If you have any issues whatsoever, please find somebody. Doesn't matter who it is. I've had people stop the maintainers in the hall and ask, where do I go for? And you know what? They usually help as well. So good luck and please stay connected. Don't disappear and do not procrastinate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Missy. Those are words of wisdom for all of our students. So I very much appreciate that. And students, again, you are keeping my fingers about as busy as they've been in a long time, grabbing all these chats. Some of the chats questions that I'm not answering, it's because I'm going to cover them in a little bit. So know that some of them I'm leaving alone because we're gonna answer those questions for you, I promise. Before we introduce our next speaker, and we're gonna hear from some of our student leaders next, we have another Menti slide. We have some new folks. So Kathy, if you could put the instructions back up first. So Menti is a real-time way to get feedback. So I know a couple of folks had some difficulty logging in. If you can't log in or have trouble logging in, you can put your response in the chat and we'll grab it that way. We just want to hear from students on the call to learn a little bit about you and so that you can see who your classmates are, who your cohort is. So if you can open another browser, go to www.menti.com and enter that code that you see, 11222344. That brings you right to the Mount Wachusett Menti program that we're using this morning. Or if you have a smartphone or device, you can scan that QR code. So I'm going to give you another second to do that. And then Kathy's going to put up our next question. And it's also in the chat. Thank you to Sarah for putting that up. So how are you feeling about starting classes at Mount Wachusett? And you can see, just type in your response and you can see what our students are thinking about as it refreshes. The bigger the word, the more often it's being used. So you can see that excited and nervous and anxious and motivated are common themes, and we get it. That's why we're here this morning, to try to maybe tilt you more towards excited and a little bit away from nervous. But I have to be honest, I was nervous this morning. And this is my 26th student orientation at my 5th different institution. And I still woke up nervous this morning. Because anytime we do something new or different, that just tells us we're alive, right? Those nerves, and we want to do our best. So it's okay to be nervous, but we want to make sure that you know at the end of the day today, I see some funny words in there too. Let's be kind and respectful. I think poop falls into the appropriate word. Stoked. So great. We'll give you another like 30 seconds to put your word in. We're going to capture this Wordle that defines our students for the fall of 2021. And you can see that you may have some of these feelings. You can see, you know, it ranges from incredibly excited to really intimidated or nervous, and all of those feelings are okay. And I'll bet you a lot of these feelings are floating and bouncing around people's stomachs and in brains this morning. All right, Kathy, thank you. If you're still doing it, we'll still capture that Wordle and get that out to students, but thank you for doing that. So now it is my pleasure as the Dean of Students to introduce you to a few of our most outstanding student leaders. So one of the things that you've heard this morning, and I really want to echo, is that if you are a student and you want to get involved, there are so many opportunities for you to step into real leadership roles at the college. So what you learn inside the classroom is super important, right? That may be what launches you, finishes your high school career, launches you into your associate's degree or career or the military, or launch you into a four-year institution after Mount Wachusett. What you learn in the classroom is a huge part of becoming a college student. But what you learn outside the classroom, clubs, organizations, going to activities, events, and workshops, meeting other students, talking to faculty during their office hours about who you are and the person that you're becoming, we actually believe that might just be as important. So we want you to think about the outside of the classroom learning as well. And we have two outstanding students who go to school full time, balance their lives, which are incredibly busy, and they're working for the college and working for all of you as student leaders. So the first student I want to introduce is Stephanie Barry. Stephanie is our SGA president, our student government president. Stephanie, do you want to say a few words to our new students and returning students?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Hi, I'm Stephanie Barry, the current SGA president. I'm a legal studies major, a web student, and very involved in MWCC. I want to tell you, even though I live an hour away and do not come to campus for classes, getting involved has been extremely rewarding experience for me. I'd like to welcome you to Mount Wachusett Community College and encourage each of you to consider getting involved at Mount Wachusett by running for a seat in our student government. Nominations are open now, and elections will be happening at the end of September. Feel free to drop by the virtual SGA office and say hello.
Thank you, Stephanie. And Stephanie really works for students. She is the voice of our student population and our student body. And what Stephanie may not have mentioned that I want to underscore is that Stephanie is a remote student. She lives almost an hour away from campus, and all of her courses are online. So she is also an excellent resource and a phenomenal student for managing your online courses. And it is a pleasure every day to work with Stephanie. So Stephanie, thanks for being here and taking a couple of minutes out of your summer vacation to visit with our students. I now want to introduce our SGA president. Our student trustee. I just introduced our SGA president, our student trustee, Cody Nathanson. Cody.
Thanks, Jason. And eventually I'm working my way up. But hello, everybody. I'm Cody Nathanson, your student trustee. I am a liberal arts and science major, taking a mix of online and in-person classes. But as your student trustee, I'm a member of the SGA. I also sit in the Mount Wachusett Community College's Board of Trustees as a full voting member, which is just a fancy way of saying that it's my job to act as liaison for the student body, you guys, and the college's governing board. But as a member of the Board of Trustees, technically, it means I'm President Brandon Haruman's boss. But unfortunately, while I don't have my own personal office, you can catch me either on campus at the SGA booth or in the virtual SGA office.
Thank you so much, Cody. And Cody sits as a voting member of our Board of Trustees. So Cody is 100% accurate that he is also my boss. So be nice to Cody. And I think you can see that there are tremendous opportunities for students here. And Kathy's going to talk a little bit about getting involved right now. So I want to introduce you to Kathy Matson. Kathy is our Assistant Director of Student Life and a phenomenal resource. So she runs all of our student clubs and organizations, workshops, programs. And what Kathy has done in the last year plus is really innovate the way we connect with our students, not only here at Mount Wachusett with virtual programming, but also connecting Mount Wachusett students with students from the other 14 community colleges in Massachusetts, and even some folks at CCRI in Rhode Island, and has really used this as an opportunity for students to get to know each other, not just here, but across the entire state of Massachusetts. So I want to introduce Kathy, who's going to talk about ways that you can get involved here at the Mount.
Thank you, Jason. Hello, everybody. So I'm not in the nerd group. I'm actually in the fun group. I am in charge of all the fun stuff. So anything that happens outside of your classroom, that comes from my office. And I am also a MWCC grad 2 times. I was at Mount Wachusett a long time ago. In 1985, I graduated fresh out of high school. And then I returned to Mount Wachusett in 2012 and graduated in 2014. I had 2 very different experiences. When I was here in the 1980s, I did not really get involved. I came to school, I did my homework, I was working full time, and I got to know a few people, and that was about it. When I came back in 2012, I got very involved, joined student government. I was in 2 of our honor societies. I ended up graduating as the student government president and as the student member on the Board of Higher Ed. And that is the reason why I'm here today doing what I'm doing, working at Mount Wachusett. I have a passion for helping students at Mount Wachusett, and getting involved really lighted that passion for me. I didn't even know I had it till I came here. So I am going to do a lot of screen sharing. I'm going to give you a lot of information, but I'm going to be giving you some links. And I don't expect you to remember everything I go over today. We will have a couple of sessions this week that you can drop in and ask more questions. You can always shoot me emails, but there's lots of information I want to share today. And I'm going to start by sharing another interactive Menti. So again, anybody that just came in, this is how you can get to it. Go to menti.com. The code is 11222344, or scan the QR code. And I'm going to go, I think most of you are already there. So I'm going to go to the next question. And I want to know where you all were born. I'd like to know a lot about you. So I'm curious to see, I can tell you I was born not far from Mount Wachusett. I was born in Leominster, so right here in Massachusetts, and I haven't gone far. But I've already got somebody on the West Coast there, a lot of people in New England. We got people in Central America. I couldn't think of what it was. Over in Africa, Europe, Asia. See, I knew this was going to happen. We've got people from all over. I was actually on a conference call a couple of weeks ago, and the majority of the people were from Russia and Ukraine, which I thought was very interesting because I've actually visited Ukraine 3 times. So this is really interesting to see. We have a very diverse population at Mount Wachusett, but you don't always know that until you ask, because all of our students are commuters. So most people live in New England, a handful of people don't, but it's not your typical 4-year where people will travel and go to school and live there and come from all over the world. So I wanted to see where people were born. Like I said, I was born in Leominster. I haven't gone very far. I wish that I had. I've always said if I went home one day and my husband said we were moving, I'd say, great, when and where? Because I've lived in the house that I live in now. I've been there for 31 years. And prior to that, I was in the house where I grew up for, 18, 20 years, and a few places in between. But I haven't moved a whole lot. So this is really cool to see. All right, and you guys can keep filling that in. This will be saved. This will be sent out later on. I am going to go to my next screen, which I have too many screens, I'll tell you that much. Wrong one. So, okay. All right, hang on just a second. I got too many screens up here. Okay. Is everyone able to see that screen, the important info from student life? I can't really see anybody. So Jason, can you let me know if you can see that?
Yes, we can see it,
Okay.
Kathy. You're
All right,
good.
perfect. So this link I'm actually going to put right in the chat. And this is a page that everybody can pull up if you want. It's something you can download. You can print it out if you want it. But this is pretty much everything I'm going to go over today. So quickly, I'm going to tell you if all these links are clickable if you just download it. So my office does do student photo IDs. And as Jason said, they are not required, but we do recommend them. We are doing them remotely at this time. So it's very simple to get one. If you click on this page, biggest thing you want to do is click on the pay for your photo ID. You'll click on this click here button. That'll take you to a site where you'll be able to pay for your ID. It's $10. And then you will get an email confirmation. That is the confirmation you want to save. And then you want to complete the form and submit your photo. So you're going to come to this page. You're going to click here to open up the form, and you'll be able to put in your current mailing address. And I ask people to do that because you may have registered with the school 6 months ago, 2 months ago, and you may have moved. So I want to make sure I'm sending your ID to the correct house. So you want to fill that out. You're going to upload a copy of that payment receipt. You're going to take a picture of yourself with your cell phone, have somebody take a picture. It needs to be full front facing. So just your face, space all around your face. Don't do this. Don't turn your head. Don't turn your head like this. Just front facing as though you were getting a driver's license photo taken. You're going to upload that, and then you can also upload a copy of your driver's license or a learner's permit or a passport, military ID. We just need to confirm that you are who you say you are. If you aren't comfortable uploading a picture of your driver's license, you have the option to schedule a Zoom meeting with me. It takes about 15 minutes or less for you to actually get on a Zoom meeting and show me your ID. I will tell you it's much easier if you can go ahead and upload that photo ID though. I'll get all that information. Once I've looked at it and everything looks okay, you'll get an approval message. And then I'll be processing that email when I'm on campus. And I'm on campus Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. And then that'll go out in the mail to you. If something isn't right, if the picture you took doesn't work, or if it's too blurry, you might get a notification that it was denied. You don't panic. There'll be a note as to what was wrong. I might ask you to send a different picture. You can just go ahead and attach that picture as in the discussion. You'll see there's a discussion option at the end and resubmit it. So that is your student ID. And then the next thing I want to show you is campus events. As Jason said, we have really changed what our events look like. Those of anyone that has ever been on campus pre-COVID, you'll know that we used to do lots of events live on campus. I have to say we probably do more events since we're virtual. And if you go to that webpage, you'll see the list of events listed by each month. So if you click on September, you'll see these are all of the events we have scheduled for the month of September. It's not a small list. We have events every single week. Sometimes it might be a student government meeting. It might be, we have a bingo, we have Constitution and Citizenship Day bingo. You have the opportunity to win prizes here, Amazon gift cards. We have a club expo, Marty's involvement in Information Expo, where you'll have an opportunity to meet with some of the student clubs on campus. We've got our CATS programming group meeting, which is a club that I oversee, and that is our campus activities team for students. And they actually help me sponsor and host all of these events. We have Jindo, if you like musical bingo. This happens every other Wednesday night. And again, this is something you can log into. You can win Amazon gift cards. So there's fun stuff happening. We also have great speakers. We have, well, I will show you this one, Thursday, September 23rd, Beyond the Music, Musical Geography through Mexico. You're going to learn all about the country of Mexico through music and how the different regions of Mexico have different types of music. If you look in October, we have a number of leadership speakers. We have Better Leader Today. Ryan Stream, who was a speaker, a musician, making more time with time management. So these are excellent programs that you can just simply log into via Zoom and listen. Some of them will be recorded, and I will show you as we go on where you're going to find out whether it's recorded or not. But these are great things to get involved with. And sometimes you think, oh, I don't have time to go play bingo. You know, sometimes when you're super, super busy, just taking, you know, an hour to go do something fun really energizes you and gives you that stamina to keep on going. So I really encourage you, even if you know, feel like you're too busy, try these things. We have Qigong, which is going to be happening every Tuesday at 2 p.m. This is only going to take half an hour, 20 minutes. Excellent way to kind of de-stress and refocus yourself. Okay. Something else I want to point out here is we have this event box. This is something we started in the spring of last year. And we have 100 event boxes that are ready for you to request, and that will be mailed to you. We have 3 events that will go with this event box. One of them is string art, one is making dream catchers, and one is a paint party. So if you request an event box, you'll get to join us via Zoom and participate in making your project live. We'll have fun, be interactive. It's just a great way to connect with others. There'll also be some snacks in there, as I know students are always hungry. So if you click on this link right here, you'll be able to request your event box. The other thing I wanted to point out, I know many people are asking lots and lots of questions, and once today is over, it's not the end of being able to get your answers. Where's Marty at MWCC is still being built. Hopefully it will be finished by the end of this week, but this is going to be a series of quizzes that you can take on your own time. You'll be able to find Marty, who is our mascot, and right here, this is Marty. He'll be on our website in multiple different locations. And once you find Marty, you want to read what it says about that particular department, whether it's student services, the library, the bookstore, campus police. You read through that information and then you click on Marty and it will take you to a quiz that you can take. And not only will you ask your questions, after each question, it's going to give you more information. So it's a great way to find out the answers to some of your questions. I know some people were asking about how long does it take to get your books once you order them. There's information about the bookstore and talking about how you can get your books, whether you get them mailed or whether you pick them up. So there's lots of great information in these Where's Marty at MWCC. So we'll go back to this page. The next big section here, this green section, I'm very excited about this. InvolveMount is our new student portal. We've had it for a year. And I'm not going to click on the link here because I have to open a different page. Otherwise, I'll take you to my page, which won't look like yours. But I'm going to do that now. And let's see. All right. Jason, can you see that page, the InvolveMount?
Yes, Kathy, you're good.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. So this is Marty the Mountain Lions InvolveMount page. There's Marty's picture up there. And this is our student portal for all the exciting things happening on campus. So you will register an account on here. If you have requested a student ID, you've already set up your account because you have to set up an account in order to fill out the form for your student ID. But this is where you're going to find about all the events. So that event page I showed you, when you click on those links, it's going to take you right here to this portal, right to the specific event that you're interested in. It also has all of the organizations. These are all of the student organizations on campus. So if you're interested in joining a club, and we've got close to 30 clubs on campus, whether it's an honor society, whether it's the Otago United, which is all about Asian culture, a hiking club, we've got a musicians at the Mount Club, a nutrition club, so lots of different clubs on campus. You'll be able to find them all right here. You can also click on news, which right now there hasn't been much written there because the clubs are technically on vacation for the summer. But the clubs are able to write news stories, and there will be news stories coming out. I write them sometimes about things that are happening. Student government will be writing some. You'll also be able to find forms. So if you wanted to find your form to fill out your ID, there might be here. And service, the college spends a lot of time focused on community service and service learning. And this page will actually give you information about service learning opportunities. So on the home page here, we've got alerts. I'm going to really stress here, Stephanie mentioned running for a seat on the SGA. We have elections happening September 27th through October 1st. And as Stephanie said, even if you're only a web student, you can be involved. Okay, like Stephanie, you know, I've seen her on campus maybe 2 or 3 times since she's been here for specific reasons. But she is a web student and she is our president of the student government. So you can click right here on this link. It will take you to all the information about how to run for a seat on the student government. You do have to have all your paperwork in by September 17th at noon, so don't wait. If you're thinking about running, go ahead and fill out the form and get started. The other big thing that's going to be happening in our election this year, not only will we'll be electing, we actually have 8 positions open, but the student government has been working over the summer to revamp their constitution and bylaws. So the proposed constitution and bylaws is available at this link. So you want to take a look at that because you'll have to answer, you can vote on that and say yes or no, whether you approve it or not at the election. The other thing I want to tell you is each Monday I send out an email during the fall and spring semesters that goes to anybody that is involved on InvolveMount. And being involved means you're either a member of an organization, a student organization, or if you don't find a student organization you want to join, if you join the Student Life Office, you'll be guaranteed to get those emails. Those emails tell you about what's happening for the week, maybe additional information, new information that's come up, fun events, whatever. So if you want to get those emails, either join a student organization or the Student Life Office. I'm not going to go over how to manage your InvolveMount right now, but there's a video here that you can watch and that'll give you the overview of how to manage your InvolveMount page. So this right here is the membership. So Marty is involved. He's a member of these 2 organizations, the Campus Activity Team for Students and the Student Life Office. So you will see this when you log in if you're a member of an organization. Down here are the events that are coming up. These are the newest events. So we have an SGA meeting, first day of classes, September 8th. There's a WooSox game, College Night at the WooSox, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in a few minutes. There's a seminar being hosted by Trio, Monday, September 13th, that's open to anybody. We have Marty's Meet and Greet, which is also happening September 13th. This is a great opportunity to drop in. We're encouraging you to drop in with a pet, if you own a pet, to share your pet. People that know me know that I've got pets at home that like to Zoom bomb my calls frequently. But this is a great time just to get to know each other and see what's happening, meet other students. The next thing I really want to show you are paths. This is something new to us this year. And this is where you have the opportunity. We have 4 different paths this fall. We have leadership, wellness and mindfulness, cultural and diversity, and fun and games. And each of these paths includes events and tasks that you will do and you'll complete throughout the semester, whether it's attending an event virtually, live, or watching it recorded and answering some questions, or maybe for leadership, one of your requirements is to either attend a student government meeting or speak to one of the student government members. But these paths allow you to earn credit, co-curricular credit, not course credit. And this will show up on a co-curricular transcript for you. And at the end, when you've completed a path, you will earn swag, MWCC swag. So depending on what path you finish, we'll be sending you swag at the end. Additionally, everybody that completes a path will have the possibility of winning a larger prize. So each of these paths will have a large prize at the end. Leadership is probably going to have an iPad. So if you're interested in potentially winning an iPad, complete that leadership path. Wellness and mindfulness will be a wellness spa kit. Cultural and diversity is probably going to be AirPods. And then fun and games is a 3D doodle pen. And if you haven't heard what that is, Google it. It's a lot of fun. I got one for my birthday last year. It's kind of like a 3D printer, just a pen. You can have lots of fun with that. So look at these paths, and I'm going to show you. If you go to the leadership path, you can see here that Marty already has 12% done. You say, how could he already have 12% done? And if you look, there's leadership events, and these are the events that you have to complete. These ones are required. Anything that doesn't say required are optional, okay? So we have Constitution and Citizenship Day bingo 5 times, 5 opportunities to attend. You can attend one, you can attend all of them. Because they're set at certain times, I don't require them, but definitely I would suggest you go to one. But then these sessions are all being recorded, so they're required. If you can't attend when they're happening, you can always watch the recording. So Marty hasn't done any of these, but if I look at the tasks, one of them is connect with the SGA, join a student organization, which both are required, and you can see this is already checked off. That's because Marty's already joined a student organization. So if you've already checked out Involvement and joined a student organization, you've already got one of these things done. The other thing, which is optional, is to vote in student government elections. We highly recommend that you participate and vote in student government elections. Okay, and if I click on right here, you can see that this is done. So that's already done. So I get a congratulations. If I click on connect with the SGA, after I've met with somebody from the SGA or gone to a meeting, I would report the experience, click on that. I would type in, I met with somebody in Kumho Space, or I went to a meeting. What did I gain? I write what I gained, and I click submit, and then that will be done. Okay, so that is Involvement and our paths. And let me go back to this page here. All right, so there's a lot here with Involvement, and I really want you to spend time there. This is, like I said, it's new to us a year ago. There's a lot of information there, lots of cool stuff you can do. The other thing I want to talk about is our virtual student center. We had a virtual student center that we launched last spring, mid-semester. A lot of people didn't know about it, but I'm highly recommending you check out the virtual student center, especially if you're only a virtual student. It's a great place to just go hang out. Maybe you could meet somebody. It's on Kumho Space, and I'm going to click on this. And I'm not going to be able to log in because I'm in Zoom, but this is what it'll look like. And you will need to set up an account. And you do need to set it up with your Mount Wachusett student email, because the student center is only open to anybody with an mwcc.edu email. That means that professors and staff here cannot join the student center. So this is only for students, and the SGA virtual office also resides in the same link. So only students can go there. But the student center, like I said, it's a great place just to hang out. Members of our campus activity team for students, they're planning to hang out there periodically. They may be there, you may go, there might not be anybody there. But if they are there, they're a great resource. Go in and talk to them, ask them questions, ask them about getting involved, ask them about what events are happening. They're there to help you. And my goal with the student center is that people will go and make friends. Kumho Space is a great resource. You can, if you're online studying anyways, you can open up Kumho Space and sit in the student center. And if somebody comes in, great, you talk to them. If nobody comes in, then that's okay. You didn't have to go physically anywhere, and you can still do your homework while you're there. The Student Government Association, again, back to that. If you click on this link, it's going to take you right to their page on Involvement. And you can see this is the information about the student government. Right here is the link if you'd like to run for a seat on the student government. If you click here, this is the link to their virtual office, which is the Student Center. Again, when you go in there, you'll see two places, the Student Government Office and the Student Center. You can go into either room. And if you click on this link, it will show you the schedule of when they're covering that office. Okay, and again, another place for you to stop in, get some information. Stephanie's going to be in there frequently. She's always willing to answer any questions you have. Because this is my account here, you can see that I can manage the organization. Normally when you come in, you're going to see a join button right here. If you're interested in student government, you can click join, and then you'll start to get all of the emails from student government. Okay, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and join it. And then if you're interested in running, click on this to start the process. All right. I can see the chat blowing up, but I can't read it. So we'll get to those questions afterwards. And again, download this. If you print it, these QR codes will also take you to each of these locations. InvolveMount is the place to go for just about anything you need. If you go to the campus events page, there's other pages there, the Student IDs campus events page. Those are both on the college website, and you'll see other links there. There's also my email is on there. So the other thing I would like to talk about is when we're all done here, which we're getting close to being done, is we have iQuest University that's scheduled to start at 11:30. And I'm going to run a quick poll. iQuest University is a virtual tour. Let me stop my screen share. That's happening, and it's scheduled from 11:30 to 1. And I'm curious, how many of you plan on sticking around for the virtual tour of iQuest University? What it is you'll be broken up into teams. You'll get a chance to tour the school virtually, meet others. Okay, great. I asked this because we are limited on the number of people who can participate, but it looks like we're going to be okay. So. All right. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Jason.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Lots of different ways to get involved, and we have about 8 minutes left. And in this time, I'm going to cover a lot of the questions that were in the chat, particularly about how to get yourself ready, away from nervous and more to excited and ready. So Kathy, if you could put up the orientation slide for me. One of the things that I've sent all of you, and I will continue to send during the week, is our orientation website. So our orientation website has a number of sessions that will be offered throughout the week that are smaller. So I know that some folks have been distracted by the chat, or they're doing kind of their own thing, which I can appreciate. This is about making connections. We want you to connect to us. We want you to connect to the college. And we do want you to connect to each other too, particularly given the fact that we are more virtual than we've ever been before. So those connections are really important, as are those relationships. And that's part of being a successful college student. So we do have some other orientation sessions offered throughout the week. They are optional. It is that hyperlink that I've been sending students. And again, I will send them, continue to send them throughout the week. The first one that's listed is the Student Services Drop-In. And that is something that I will be hosting, and there will be invited guests at each one of those 3 sessions, particularly our support services from around the college. So health services, counseling services, disability support services, services for student parents. If you have questions or want to learn more, these are great small group opportunities for you to jump in, hear from some folks that you haven't heard from today, and learn a little bit more about the college, financial aid, our campus police office, advising, career and transfer. Lots of folks who work here at the college who want to connect with students. So if you are someone who is feeling more nervous, than you thought you would, these will be great sessions to get to meet the staff here at the college and learn as much as possible about coming to Mount Wachusett. We also have a student life drop-in session as Kathy scrolls up a little bit so folks can see that. To learn more about getting involved on campus, Kathy gave you a little bit of an introduction there. This is an opportunity for you to follow up on that introduction. We have a couple of specialized academic programs. So if you are a human services or substance abuse counseling student, they're having an orientation session this week. I've heard some chats about our veteran students. We have a veteran briefing, so support for our veteran students. They are offering that session. We are offering a special session on being a first-generation college student. So I am a first-generation and was a first-generation college student. That means that before me, no one else in my family had ever attended college. In fact, both of my parents were high school dropouts. And had not attended and finished their high school through the GED program back in the early 70s. So being a first generation student means that maybe no one else in your family quite understands what college is all about. This session is how to prepare as a first generation college student. If you're a business student or you're interested in thinking about business, we have a special session for you. And we heard in the chat or saw in the chat questions about disability services and accommodations. So if you had an IEP in high school or a 504 plan in high school, this is a session where you can meet the staff in disability support services, and they can help you get prepared for the start of classes. And then I think lastly on there, if Kathy scrolls down a little more, if you are a PTA student, there is a mandatory orientation for you coming up this week. And then I think there is next week, so not this week, but next week, there's an early childhood ed program drop-in session for students who may be interested in that program. So let's go. So a couple of things. One is, I heard some chat about your MWCC email, and Cody and Stephanie, I'm sure, will underscore this in the chat. You need to check your Mount Wachusett email. It is time for you to get serious about school this week. And one of the best ways to do that is to check your Mount Wachusett email at least once a day. That is how your faculty and I will be communicating with you. And one of the things that you're going to get from me at the end of this week in preparation for next week is a fairly lengthy email with bulleted paragraphs of all of the things that we think you need to know to get started with hyperlinks. So if you want to learn more, you just click that hyperlink and it will take you to that page or that email or that website of support service so that you can connect with that individual office or support service. We are open. So our campus, even if you are a remote virtual student, our campuses, Leominster, Devens, our dental hygiene campus in Fitchburg at the old Burbank Hospital and up here in Gardner are open. Our services and offices are open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. And for students who need computer access, internet access, have in-person courses, you are all invited to come to campus, to use the library, to meet with a staff member, to come and ask a question, to pay your bill, to talk to financial aid. Even if you don't have classes in person, you are still invited to come into the campus to take care of your services, to pick up your books at the bookstore. The bookstore right now is open from 10 to 2. They spend their hours when they're not open preparing all of the online orders for the next day's pickup. So if you want to shop in person or pick up your books in person, you can come to the bookstore on the Gardner campus from 10 to 2. Kathy, can you pull up the mock schedule? We had a lot of questions about your schedule and where to go and what to do. So we whipped together this mock schedule, and I need to, all right, here we go. So I am going to annotate a little bit. So I'm going to draw while I talk so people can see what I'm talking about. But when you look at your schedule, which is available on the My Schedule tab in your iConnect, and if you have questions, just email us and we can help you. You will see something that looks similar to this. It may not look exactly like this in format, but it will have the same content. It will tell you what your course is. So this is English 235, more commonly known as children's literature. So that's what most students don't walk around saying, I'm in English 235. They'll say, I'm in children's lit, right? Here is your instructor's name. And cycle, if it says 1, it means it's all semester. So it's the entire fall semester. If it says C1 or C2, those are mini-mesters, right? So, and you can see this schedule is not, it is not a cycle schedule. It is a full semester schedule. And then you will see the dates of the semester. And I did put in the chat, the academic calendar. Please bookmark the academic calendar. And when I send you an email later this week, it will have that in there as well. And it says that our first day of classes is September 8th, and our last day of classes is December 23rd. But that doesn't mean that is true for every student. Every student in a full semester class is going to have that designation, but September 8th is a Wednesday. If you are in a Tuesday, Thursday course only, you're not going to start on September 8th officially. You're going to start on September 9th, right? So I hope that makes sense to folks. Next, you will see campus. This course, the Children's Lit course, is a web-only course, and it has no meetings. This means there is no time where you will show up virtually with your instructor. The course is in Blackboard. You will follow the syllabus. You will pass in your assignments. You will communicate via email with your faculty member or via Blackboard and discussion board to complete that class. There is no time in the week where you need to show up virtually for a course. That is what no meet means. This next course down, statistics, has a campus code. GAR is Gardner. LEO is Leominster. DEV is Devens. And it has a room. So this course is in W11, and it's from 11 to 12:20 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay. If you see a T and an R, that means Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the only other possibility you might see is an F for Fridays. A lot of lab courses will host their lab on Fridays. So you see, this is a web no meet. This is an in-person course on the Gardner campus with a class time to show up for. And then down here, you'll see an example of a web course with an online meeting Mondays and Wednesdays from 11 to 12:20, which means your instructor is going to give you a Zoom link or some type of virtual link for folks to jump on every Monday and Wednesday, and that attendance is part of your class. So you're meeting virtually at a specific time every week. So we wanted to show you that schedule so that you were able to see what those differences are.
So you meet at a certain point every week with your teacher? Is that how it works in college?
For all of these options, Julia, they are all different. Some are in person, some are web without
I am
meeting with your
completely
instructor.
online, my friend. That's what I was asking.
Okay. Julia, if you could mute yourself, I'll respond real quick because when I can hear a little bit of I can't hear everything. If you are all online, you could be meeting online with your instructor or not meeting online with your instructor. So being all online doesn't mean that you are or are not meeting regularly with your instructor. You need to look at your schedule to see if there are any meeting times and days where you need to log in to meet with your instructor. So last, I will finish as folks are jumping off, but I want to finish with our COVID policies. We had lots of questions about this, and I think it's important for folks to know that that we want our campus to be open, but we want everyone to be safe. So we have policies on our campus, and I will send these to all of you in an email, but as we've put in the chat, face coverings are required for everyone inside a campus building. So that is not just for students, it is for faculty and staff and employees as well. And that means that when you are in the classroom walking through the building, you should have an appropriate face covering on, covering your mouth and nose. The South Cafeteria will be a space for folks to take mask breaks. So you can eat your lunch in there. You can take your mask and face covering off in there while you eat your lunch and sit in that space. We also know that students will need to be actively eating or drinking. So if you are taking a water break or a drink break, you can absolutely step outside of your classroom, find a space where you're separated from other folks, remove your face covering quickly in order to take a drink, right? So you see that Missy is modeling our face covering policy with our Mount Wachusett branded face covering. The only time for staff you see Kathy and I without a face covering because we're in our office with the door closed and we are alone. If you step into my office to meet with me, which I welcome anytime, we'll both pop up, put on our face coverings, and we'll have that conversation. Our hope is that this will evolve and change in the spring semester, but we will take our cues from the Department of Public Health and the governor's office about how we will operate safely inside of our building. You'll also notice that our classrooms and common spaces are socially distant. So our furniture is spread around and our classrooms are spread out. So we took some chairs and desks out of our classrooms so that it is a safe size. So the amount of students in the class, if you are taking an in-person class, is safe. So they're separated by at least 3 feet, and our faculty and our students will feel comfortable. It's also important to note that we were open last year. So the same amount of in-person classes that we have this year is just what we had last fall and last spring with the face covering policy, and we were incredibly successful keeping our students, our faculty, and our staff safe in the building. And that is our primary goal and concern. So before we jump off, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to give you permission to ask for help. We are all here to help you succeed. And please, please take advantage of our additional orientation schedule for this week. All of those sessions will be recorded. So if you cannot attend, even though we try to have them at different times during the day, we will send those recordings out to students so that you can watch them on your own and grab that information. Because at each one of my drop-in sessions, we'll have different offices there. And when I send email reminders, I'll let you know which offices to expect at that particular session. And if you see an office there that you say, I think I want to know more about that, then you can certainly jump on live or wait for me to send out that recording and then watch that session so that you can hear from that particular office and maybe get your questions answered, certainly get contact information for those folks. So with that, I want to wish you all the best of luck. I want to formally invite you to email me at any point in time, and I'm going to ask Sarah or Kathy to put my email in the chat. You can email me anytime. We also have a student services email. You can email that email anytime. We want to answer all of your questions. We will be in the building walking around. For those of you who have in-person classes next week and the week after, we'll be walking around the building, helping students find their classrooms, answering questions, taking you on a mini tour if you've never been on campus before. There'll also be some students. I think Cody will be here. Some other student leaders will be walking around, helping students get situated and answering any questions that they have. You've made a great decision being here at Mount Wachusett. We're so excited to have you here. I'm going to turn it back over to Kathy for those students who want to stick around and jump into iQuest University's virtual tour and game. Thanks so much, everybody. It was great to see you.